Hello, children. Are you ready for some cutting up and kikiing? Are you ready for a gay old time? Well, I hope you are, because now it's time for Hey Qween with your host, Jonny McGovern.
Hey Qween, come on and spill the tea. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Hello, my beautiful gay babies, and welcome to another delicious episode of Hey Qween with me, your host, Jonny McGovern. Oh, bitch, we have another superstar episode for you today. Oh, it's gonna be a bear-tastic episode. This is a big, hairy episode, and we are gonna spill some true Hollywood tea today. We're gonna get into it, but before we do that, there's a very special lady I have to introduce. She's my big bone, badass bitch. She's a bowl full of glamour with a dash of diva. In the playing card deck of life, she's the queen of thugs. It's Miss Lady Red Couture! Hey, Queen!
Hey, Qween!
Oh, my goodness. You know what? Every day to look upon you is a pleasure. Every day to look upon you is a delight.
Oh, child, it's just a bunch of glitter.
I mean, you look like a disco diva today.
Oh, and then today, I have a special mic in my wig.
Oh, you've made it. She's made it, everyone. Lady Red has a mic in her wig. This is how big this show has gotten. Mic in the wig.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're giving me like disco, like you came off the Love Boat. Like you went from the disco, you and Charo did some coke somewhere, and then you went on bed to the disco and did it again.
I'm saying I'm Isaac's little sister.
Oh, you are Isaac's little sister.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, my old New York City pal, Daniel Franzese, is here today.
Is he really?
Yes, honey.
Oh,
yes, thank you. That is worthy of applause.
Yeah.
Now, Lady Red, I know you know him as Damien from Mean Girls.
Yeah.
I know you had that on VHS probably.
You already know.
But most recently, he has been starring in HBO's Looking and giving us big boy sexiness.
Yes.
I've been loving Looking. I loved Looking.
Yes.
It was so great to see a show with gay characters I could recognize. You know what I mean? Not sassy secretaries or weird hotel clerks.
Right.
I mean, that was real faggots on TV that I could recognize. And I want to see that. I want to be able to see myself on it.
Yes.
And I want to see gay sex on TV.
Oh, just a little bit.
I mean, just like it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I loved about it. It wasn't like a big deal, and it wasn't queer as folk style where everything was a disco.
Yes.
You know, it was just like, hey, I want you to fuck me up the butt before we go to this party. I like that.
The brand new gay normal.
Yes, exactly. I mean, HBO has been giving us a lot of gay sex on Looking, and even gay adjacent sex on Girls. They were eating butt on Girls this season, Lady Red. Yeah, I know you're like, I'm pretending to know what Girls is. That's a white person thing that I don't know about. Girls is a show about a bunch of white girls. So,
Oh, okay.
Yes, who live in Brooklyn and New York and do white girl stuff.
Okay.
But in one of the scenes, one of the pretty girls, who I think Allison Williams, who's Brian Williams, the news anchor's daughter, was getting her butt eaten on the show.
Oh, chomping on some.
What did you say?
Chomping on some of that booty.
Chomping on some of that booty. Exactly. I have a very clear theory about when you eating butt.
What is it, Johnny?
Eating butt is an oral contract.
For what?
Eating butt is an oral contract for once I've eaten your butt, now we can share everything. We can share everything, Lady Red.
Everything?
Well, look, you can't have me eat your butt one day. Like, I make love to you, and of course, I'll eat your butt so good. But then you can't be like, I take a sip of your soda and be like, don't do that. I don't like it. No.
Right.
If I've eaten your butt, I can have a sip of your soda, I can eat off your fork, I can use a toothbrush, I can take a lick of your ice cream cone. Eating butt is an oral contract.
How about that?
Once my tongue's been in your asshole, we can share everything and don't be weird about it.
We're going to share everything.
We're going to share. I mean, I'm not going to spit on your food or nothing, but if I take a sip, don't act weird about it. I don't like people, what? I was like, my tongue's been in your butt. T in the B.
Well,
LR? T in the B, LR.
As long as your backwash, we good.
everything you say into a poster or a t-shirt. As long as you don't backwash, we good. Well, I think our guest today has probably eaten so many butts he doesn't even know what to do with it. Mr. Daniel Franzese from Looking and Mean Girl and so many other things is here today, presented by Scruff. For people who love to eat hairy butts.
Oh my God.
And we're going to be back with Daniel after this very gay break.
Yeah.
Gonna be the gayest of all time. Better make it out tonight. It's amazing. Rainbow Bride is the gayest of all time. You got me hypnotized. That shit is super size. That thing was and pride. You know about me. Well, forget what you heard. I want a sexy nerd. Areas, I like your man areas. You know I like to lick your man.
Middle-aged lady in my aerobics class, doing everything modified.
Next thing on the dance floor. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, it's the gayest of all time. Gonna be the gayest of all time. Better make it out tonight. It's amazing. Rainbow Bride is the gayest of all time. Of all time.
Hey Qween.
Girl, our guest has been a movie star for motherfucking years, honey. And recently he's been starring on HBO's Looking, and this hoe's doing viral videos for your nerves, including his most recent big-ass hit, Please Go Home. Let's take a look.
Yes, it's true, I just had me a one-night stand. I woke up to the face of another man. Last night didn't really go to plan. Should have stayed at home, spent time with my hand. Oh, won't you please go home? Wanna be alone. I'll call a cab, where here's my phone. Won't you please go home?
Hey Qween.
Yes, Daniel Franzese. Oh, yes.
I just
Hey,
appeared.
man.
I was like, up here.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on your gay show.
you're welcome. You're here in our new beautiful extra gay set.
I know this set is gayer than eating ass.
You're right about that. Baby, it is so good to see you.
You too. I always love seeing you.
Oh, such a delight. Now, let's talk about that song first, because I was chatting with you before the show
Okay.
and asking you about it, and you were like, well, me and Sam Smith were just chatting about it over Twitter the other day. Tell me about you and Sam Smith and that whole thing.
Well, first of all, it was written and directed by Adrian Anchondo, who plays the other guy in the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's a friend of mine. We met on the Looking set, and he asked me if I wanted to do it, and we did it. We just snuck it in between takes on Looking. Like I really had like
that's
zero
on the
time.
Looking set?
Well, not on the set, but
In the area.
I had
Set
like a
adjacent?
day off, and we recorded it, and then shot the scene in the bedroom at night, and then the next morning I had the morning off, and we shot with the chorus, and then that evening I went and shot other scenes on Looking. So we just like snuck it in there. I was exhausted, girl.
You're
but
on your big show, darling, but she's still working those videos, still working those viral videos.
well, you know, it's for the children.
It's for the children. You're right.
It's entertainment, you know what I mean? So we just wanted to continue to do fun things despite, you know, the amount of work that I do for other people. I wanted to do things for myself. So.
You're doing it all right now, honey.
I'm doing
You're
the most.
It all. But before we get into all the things that you're doing, tell me about Sam Smith and you being best friends.
Well, Sam Smith tweeted us that he loved it and thought it was brilliant. And, you know, we haven't met yet, actually, but because he's on tour and stuff. But we talk on on Twitter fairly often. He's a great, nice guy.
Like, hello, Daniel. I love the episode of Looking. Hello, Daniel.
The next time I'm gonna have to have you read it to me.
Oh yes,
'cause
that would be great.
Yeah.
At What's Up, Danny? It's me, Sam Smith. I've lost 14 pounds. I'm looking thinner than ever. He's looking good.
He is looking good. Yeah.
Now, speaking
I'm
of...
just making fancy friends. Can you not ruin this for me?
I won't, sorry. Please cut all that out. I'm always ruining somebody's fancy friend by talking about them on this show. That's the main thing. I'll be like, oh, you were friends with someone extremely famous? Tell me more.
Oh, do tell.
Tell me more. You're like, Johnny, I'm trying to keep this friends. Now, speaking of you and famous friends, I had some kind of segue in my mind, but I lost it.
All right.
It doesn't matter because the most important thing to talk about is motherfucking looking. Bravo, standing ovation. Sitting down, standing ovation.
Sit down.
Please, audience of thousands, sit down.
Please,
All y'all on the
embarrassing.
20th row back there, please. Lady Red, please, sit down.
I am. Just a second.
Bitch, I knew you weren't standing up. If there's one thing I know, and the audience knows, you didn't stand up.
As fat as I am, I don't need to stand up. I got this.
I have just been in love with Looking this season.
I know.
It's a great show, the first season, but I thought this season, it really just opened up and exploded in a way, just really came into its own.
Well, I mean, I was really happy to see that they wanted to add like a different type of male body form onto the show, and even more happy to see that it was going to be me.
I know. Now you told a story where you had talked to the casting director of the show.
Well, the casting director Carmen Cuba had discovered me for my first film, Larry Clark's Bully.
Right.
And so I didn't know that at first. My friend Lori Malkin, who's another casting director, was like, "Are you watching Looking? It's great." And I'm like, gay shows don't usually cater to my bearish, sensibilities.
Tell me about
I'm like,
it.
I don't usually see someone like me. And she was like, well, why don't you be the person like you on it? And I was like, well, it doesn't work that way, or I'd be like on American Horror Story and everything else,
Right.
I just call people. But when I looked it up and saw that it was Carmen, I sent her some photos my way, and then, I came out. And that kind of went a little viral. And
Oh, it did, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I also mentioned Carmen in that, so she sent it over to them, and they were discussing having a bigger, more cuddly dude on the show, and it just seemed to all happen at the right serendipitous moment. And Michael Lanham was telling me there were no objections. Everyone was like, yeah. And then they, met me for breakfast. Andrew Haig met me and offered me the role and told me about how progressive it was going to be, how it would be a big guy but still be sexy, and he'd be HIV positive but living a happy, healthy life. And I was really excited about it. I was like, of course I'll do it. So it was just a quick screen test, and then I was there.
You were in it to win it.
I was in it.
And I'd say the first big boy character, big gay Barry character, not as a sidekick or
A castrated clown.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
Not like someone who was attractive, who was
Well, thank
having
you.
sex.
Right.
Who was, I just thought it
It seems so
refreshing.
I agree with you, and I waited so long for a part like that to come around. I turned down a lot of roles, previous to that, feeling very strangled by Hollywood into playing those sort of for the joke's sake type roles. And Damien in Mean Girls was really progressive. I hadn't seen a chubby teen like that where it doesn't mention his weight once in the whole script.
Yeah.
And I found that to be refreshing as well. And I got a lot of feedback from my fans about that. And I waited for the moment to do that on an adult scale, and luckily Looking came around and I was able to do that. So
You did it.
I did it.
Now wait, this is the fucked up part though. They canceled Looking.
I know.
Hey,
I know.
HBO.
What up, HBO?
What the fuck, bro? What's up, bro? I mean, that's I didn't even know until I was looking to have you on. I was looking to have you on the show, and someone was like, "Oh, well, it's canceled." I was like, "Canceled?"
I know. Well, we're gonna make a movie.
Thank goodness they're at least gonna do that.
Yeah,
so they're gonna wrap
doing
it up.
a special movie, so we'll be able to continue the story there, and there's all these petitions to save the show, but I don't think that stuff really works.
I signed it.
Well, I appreciate that.
I signed it and I tweeted it.
I think everybody needs to watch the movie. Make the movie have high ratings, and then maybe some, you know what I mean? But
why can't we have the seasons of Carrie Bradshaw on them? Those characters were growing so amazingly. And also, you've talked about this a lot in the press, but having an HIV positive character who was living a normal life, and it wasn't a tragedy.
And showing, a serodiscordant mixed status couple having sex and how they work it out and the use of PrEP and all of that other stuff was
talking
revolutionary.
about Truvada, it was like the most real show in
Yeah.
such a refreshing way. My favorite moment on the show that I thought was, I was like, oh, you just gagged America, was when he was like asking your character how he became positive.
Oh,
and
right.
he said
So
something
it was a
like,
courtesy bottom, and then I was like, just kidding.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I was a courtesy bottom at some big orgy and took a million loads. He was like, bitch, no, that's not what I did. Because, that's like what the old-fashioned gay show would have done.
And that's kind of, that whole episode I felt was a big red herring, like, you think I'm sick. And I remember, like, in the preview before, people would be like, you can't die, like, on Twitter. And I'm like, you guys, this is like, it's a different story to be a person living with HIV in this age of treatment and prevention. So it's like, that's what the story that they chose to tell. And I thought that was brilliant, and I was excited to portray that.
And that's led to another huge thing for you right now.
Yeah, I'm an ambassador for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation.
I mean, why are you trying to be so classy?
Here's the thing.
Why?
Here's the thing. I knew there'll be. I didn't really care about the misconceptions, but I was already working towards that before I even booked Looking, and knew that I was going to be playing an HIV positive character. I'm friends with Quinn Tivy and Reese Tivy, who are Elizabeth Taylor's grandchildren.
Wow.
And we had talked for years about a way to get me involved. I was feeling like I needed to live more of a life of service anyway. I wanted to do some good, and then my friend Ryan found out he was HIV positive. So who did I call but them?
Right.
And Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, just the treatment and care and immediate response to Ryan's needs was so impressive to me that I wanted to repay that. And when I found out that I was playing an HIV positive character, I couldn't say anything because I had to sign the NDA. And so I'm like, wait.
You knew.
I knew. And I was like just waiting for HBO to like mention it or release it somehow. And when they finally released it, the day they released it, I called up Quinn, who lives in Brooklyn. And he's like, I'm in LA right now. And I'm on my way to these facilities that my grandmother's legacy has helped pay for. And so I went, he's like, come with me. And I immediately met Joel Goldman, the managing director. And it just seemed so serendipitous. So before I even started filming Looking, I was able to speak to the writers and everything about the stuff that America needs to be talking about and hearing right now. So it was just this really great moment where it was synergetic.
Still doing it for the children. Viral videos, movies, TV shows, and the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. Elizabeth Taylor gave Lady Red some of the jewels she's wearing today.
Yes.
No. That's a lie. That's a lie, but it's a good lie.
Incidentally, do you know what's really cool about the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation? Like, as I was like researching and finding out more about Elizabeth Taylor's like tireless efforts, but like she left 25% of her name, likeness, and trust fund to cover all the operating costs for Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. So if people buy jewelry on QVC, if they buy white diamonds, like they're actually contributing to, and every dollar they raise goes to people who need it with HIV and AIDS.
Elizabeth Taylor, I know you can hear me up there.
We love you, Miss Taylor.
We love you, Elizabeth Taylor. I remember that time I saw you from the distance at the Abbey.
Yeah,
you look good. Elizabeth Taylor used to come hang out at the Abbey.
Well, the Abbey has an Elizabeth Taylor cocktail.
Oh, yes, they do. And they have a little section that's like, here's where Liz Taylor used to come sit.
And every time you buy a cocktail, $1 goes directly to people who need it with HIV and AIDS.
Oh, Liz Taylor, I love you. Ghost of Liz Taylor, you're still doing it. Lady Red, can you do the Liz Taylor? Do you ever see that commercial? Where's the white diamonds?
When I go, well, these have always brought me luck.
Yeah!
And you got like the purple on and everything.
Yes, you do. That was the spirit of Liz Taylor. She might be in you right now.
Well, she was my white mother.
Oh, wow. Who knew? Lady Red's foster mother was Elizabeth Taylor. Now, let's talk about when you came out. Because I knew you from back in the day.
I know. When you saw me, you were like, well, great job on your publicity stunt, girl.
This was
I knew that there was some kikiing going on in certain circles.
Well, I'd say this wasn't something that I was sitting at home being like, look at this bitch. But I did see, because you wrote a letter to your character, Damien, from the perspective of yourself as a grown gay man.
Yes.
And when I saw you at Akbar for Barris in Space, I said, oh, girl, I just saw your stunt queen move, and I loved it.
That kind of like derails me a little bit, no joke. Because for me, there really was this struggle in New York City when we met. Yeah. Which I don't want to derail this, but we met on my 25th birthday.
Oh well, I made you not tell me this story before the show.
We'll
so
tell it again.
Tell me now.
Well, you and I, Ariana, our mutual friend Ariana, took me to see your show as my birthday present, and then you had the whole show sing to me for my birthday, and we went out to Benny's Burritos afterwards, and that's how I met you.
Nice.
It was my 25th birthday. No, I worked as a bouncer and pretty much in a promoter for all different kinds of gay events and gay clubs in New York City.
Now, was that before or after Mean Girls when we met?
Before, like it was after Bully. I was the bouncer
Bully?
at the Duplex. I worked at Pop Rocks. I worked at the Pyramid, like all those places. But then when I booked Mean Girls, because it was a gay role, all of my agents and everyone were telling me to be quiet.
Right.
And it was like, oh, they're like, well, work against it. You just don't have to say anything. And it became this thing that started feeding into more and more of me going back into the closet, which is why it confused my real friends that knew me for years. But I would lie to casting directors because I was being blocked by what I call a gay glass ceiling. From getting into certain opportunities. So there was like, what I cited in my letter, one of the things I talk about was this specific movie that I wanted to get in on, where one of my best friends who I moved to LA with, who have been frequent collaborators, we've done plays and movies together for years, was playing this blue collar wife, and the husband was supposed to be like a doughy worker, like so who I play historically in my acting, everything. And they wouldn't even let me audition for the part. They were like, yeah, we love Daniel, we think he's hilarious in Mean Girls, but this is a real man's man. And I couldn't even get the opportunity to try.
Right.
So I think it really hurt me for many years, and I kept quiet about my sexuality. And, I was in long-term relationships, so I didn't see a need necessarily to, go out and date or go out to gay clubs.
Right.
So I pretty much stayed away from gay culture for years, and it hurt me because that's part of my people.
That's who you are. You're a big, very hairy faggot, and God bless you for that. I mean, you were living though in the age where Jack from Will and Grace was still trying to pretend he was loving ladies and sexy Doritos commercials.
Well, that's the
that
same.
bit him in the ass.
But that's the same thing for, a lot of us were feeling that pressure. It was a period of gay exploitation. On one hand, we had these shows like Will and Grace and Queer as Folk and Queer Eye for the Straight Guy that were Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, when that came out, weren't you shocked when you heard the title? I was like, oh my God, they're going to do a show like that?
Gay in the title. Lady Red, that's crazy.
I know.
Oh, I loved it though.
Yeah,
we
so did I. We all did. But
we were happy to see homosexuals in front of the camera being themselves.
But in the same token, it became a moment of exploitation, which exploitation is the first step to acceptance.
Yeah.
We historically we could see in film through black exploitation how the black image was exploited for sexuality or fear or whatever, and until it could all of a sudden become Denzel Washington winning an Oscar. It takes time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a comedian who said that originally when he was auditioning for plays, all the lines were like "Mo Biscuit, sir." To the point where he was like, fuck, But there's only so many times you could do that to where you're like, that's an old thing and that's not right anymore. So for us, I always said it was the hey girl syndrome. There's only so many times that you can see someone. I think the perfect example of blaxploitation conquering that is white old ladies rapping. So when we first saw Ellen Dow with Wedding Singer being like a hip hop, everybody was like, that shit's crazy. Did you see that white old lady? Now you see a white old lady, you're like, okay, enough.
Stop rapping, Granny. We've seen it already.
But the next thing is, we're probably ready to accept an actual white old lady rapper. We're almost there. So it's kind of like there's only so many times that the neighbor is going to be like, hey girl, and people laugh at it, until your real neighbor could be like, hey girl, and you'd be like, hi Mr. Henderson.
Yeah, exactly. We're still trying to get through that.
Exactly, but
every role
it takes
that
time.
Everyone I know is going out for is still.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I know. Yeah,
that was why Looking was so special and so amazing.
I know. Well, there's also a lot of other great shows. There's The Fosters. There's a lot of other.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I know it's on the way, but I'd like more.
But 10 years ago, it was not. I went straight from Damien, which was a progressive role, which I felt like the only thing bad that was said about him in that movie was the too gay to function line, and that was something that was used in the burn book.
Right.
Everything else, he was normal and he was fine, and it was fine. It was good with his friends. So I felt like that was a progressive role that pushed the envelope. But shortly after that, they were like, okay, you're going to play the best friend to Scarlett Johansson, and you're going to, have a feather boa on, and you're going to give a dirty look to her boyfriend that walks in the door. And
Right.
it was just kind of like, it's not enough for me. It's not,
Yeah.
So I worked against it until I finally felt like this is bullshit. I need to, because my fans from Mean Girls were the ones writing me letters telling me how liberating it was to see someone like them on screen.
Yeah.
And how it freed them up. One in particular was this guy that said in 8th grade, I was bullied for being chubby and gay. And then Mean Girls comes out. And then in 9th grade, the popular girls are like, you're like Damien, come sit with us.
Wow.
And he became popular.
Yeah.
And I thought about, man, how much I would have loved to have that, like an example like Damien when I was younger. So I knew going into Looking that I was like, I'm going to do this on an adult level for the big boys.
For the big boys.
Yeah.
Like, we're canceled or not, that show's going to remain and be a legacy
Part of the
piece
HBO library. Exactly.
Yeah, and for young gays to see the normalcy and fabulousness at the same time of gay life.
Well, on top of that, also, again, back to the mixed status couple.
Yeah.
I've had a lot. I just recently was a special guest at TBRU, the Texas Bear Roundup. And, and that was amazing.
Lady Red, how come we didn't get an invitation to the Texas Bear Roundup?
I think they forgot that I could be a bear.
You could take off your wig, your natural hair that grows out of your head wig, and put a fake beard on you.
Well, it was
Scratch out your titties.
Yeah, I don't need all that. I got enough body hair to qualify as a bear. You just don't see it.
Just take the wig and put it on your chin.
Yes.
There's a wig to chin wig. It's a hot new thing,
Or I'm just a mother bear. Yes.
Yes, you are a mother bear.
a den mother.
She's the den mother.
Remember they had the Bernstein bears? Remember that? They have Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear, Faggot Bear. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, thank you. There's a lot of faggot bears that I know, and I'm one of them.
So, I made a couple movies when I first met you. I did Bully, and then a couple other movies that won't be named, and Party Monster.
Right, Party Monster.
Right. And then I did Mean Girls, and after that, I was like, bye, New York, and I moved to LA.
Oh, and that's when you arrived here. And
Yeah.
I think that was when I stopped seeing you for many years. 'Cause I was still in New
that's
York.
what happened.
Deep underground.
But I wanted to leave
everybody.
I thought there's something kind of fabulous about leaving everyone gagging, like making a big blockbuster studio film.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then skipping town.
Bye, girl. BGB. Bye, girl. Bye.
Clean slate.
That was your plan, I believe.
Yeah,
You were like,
totally.
I'm gonna make indies. I'm gonna live an indie New York life until I make this big studio movie.
That's it.
Deuces, New York.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then I came here and was like celibacy and like no clubs and like
Oh.
back in the club. That's when it really started.
Uh-huh.
My moment of like gay hiding, which I regret. But
And you were not even having sex? I mean, that wasn't
No,
really the age
no.
of Grindr yet, was it?
it
then?
wasn't.
So-
No, but I still wasn't. I wasn't even kissing anyone.
Wow.
And then I met somebody, and I had a 5-year relationship.
Because that was before the age of Grindr and where it would have been easier for you to hook up. But back in the day, you had to actually speak to people
Yeah.
and go to clubs and meet people out and they'd have to know you were gay.
Well, it's actually funny because I just when I came out, I was in New York and I was
Oh.
there for a long time, and then I went to San Francisco to film Looking. So I'm actually really just going to West Hollywood now for the first time, and I've lived in LA for like a decade.
Wow.
I'm just slowly starting to go to clubs.
I mean, what were you? You must have been masturbating a lot.
I mean, maybe.
Thank goodness you got this big ass gay role. So now when you do come to Hollywood, there you are, King Big Boy motherfucker. I waited a long time for this. Now you can see me naked on television. I'm fucking on TV. I'm coming at people's eye on TV.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I'm so excited to see you again,
This
honey.
is great.
Always a pleasure. I'm so excited for all your success. You've been working it. I love somebody with a lot of hustle, and you have it. And I love someone repping for the big boys on TV. So congratulations
Oh,
on
thank
that.
you.
And I am ready to play your friend in the Looking movie.
I'm gonna work on it.
Well, you've been such a wonderful guest on the show today, that darling. You snatched a trophy, honey! Yeah! And don't tell your boyfriend, you've also won a lap dance! Yay! Give it to him good!
Oh my
Give
God.
it to him good!
He's really gonna get mad at me. He's Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican.
He's
I'm
gonna
gonna
come
get in
beat your
trouble.
ass!
I'm
Just
gonna
get
get in
on his
trouble.
lap like you're Santa Claus. Look,
There
just
you
sit
go.
chastely next to him. You know what? I like you are a homosexual. The lap dance has been denied.
I said no, honey. I said no.
Now, look, we're going to be playing Look It Out with Daniel on the Look It Out after show. You can go there by clicking this link. But in the meantime, Lady Red, take us out with some Black Lady Screaming.
Hey, Queen! Hey, Queen!
Yeah! All right, everybody, we'll see you later. Make sure to tune in to the Look At Her after show where Daniel's going to talk about Lindsay Lohan and all them other famous hoes he knows. Bye, everybody!